morning, welcome. I'm happy to start the day of presentations today with my presentation. My name is Andreas Springer. I'm head of marketing for Actonic. We are a German-based platinum solution partner as well as a marketplace partner. And I want to talk today about how to look into your ITSM data and how to maybe look in a different way at your data to be able to get additional insights from your reporting and how to avoid to look at your data in the wrong way. Give you some tips and tricks, some best practices, and how to ask the right questions, basically. So our mission is to solve your ITSM mysteries, or in general Jira mysteries that can be solved with reporting. So just like Sherlock Holmes did back in the day, we are suggesting a scientific approach, looking for clues, working with data, eliminate everything that is impossible, and then inevitably arrive at the truth, which you can then use as a starting point to inform your decisions about what to do next. And the tool that we want to give to you is our app that is called Report Builder for Jira. And we will look into some of the templates that we've created for this purpose in this presentation. So the question to ask in the beginning is how to assess the actual client value that we can give in our ITSM processes. I think that is one of the most, if not the most important thing for any ITSM team leader. Of course, you have some other responsibilities as well, how to distribute the work in your team, right? Stuff like that, but client value should be always the most important thing. So let's look at some assumptions for you and ask us ourselves, are these the right things to look at, or are there some other things to consider as well? So let's start with the first question, which is, what about the number of closed tickets, right? So everybody wants to close a high number of tickets. That's an important thing that you want to achieve. And it's the right question to ask, definitely, as are all of these in this list. But you have to also look at the context here. So if you have, for example, 100 tickets closed in a month, you might think, wow, that's a great number. We are on the right track. We are solving 100 customer problems per month. That's great. Well, yes, but if you have at the same time 1,000 new tickets coming into the system, then you have to do something about it, right? You have to act, and in order to be able to act, you have to know about this situation so you can do something about it. So one of the reporting templates that we've created inside of Report Builder is the created versus resolved report, which allows you to easily assess the productivity of your team and just see how is the balance, how is the relationship between tickets coming in and tickets being solved. And this will help you, again, with work distribution, inside of your team, for example. You can assess the efficiency. Maybe there's some issue with the performance of an individual team member you have to look into. And it is also very useful for trend analysis. So you might have a peak, for example, always in the middle of the month for some reason. And if you cannot work towards eliminating this peak, so you don't have any problems, you can at least know that this is a repeating pattern and you can plan for it accordingly to be able to cope and not build up a huge backlog that you cannot get behind in the end. So that is our created versus resolved report. The next thing to look at would be a short reply time question. Again, the right question to ask. Everybody wants to give replies in a really short time so people feel taken care of. But there is, again, another aspect to this that you could be looking into, because there is a distinction between first reply and first response. And with our report here, we are opening the possibility to look at both of these aspects at the same time, or rather switch between them. So first reply is what you will usually think of when you're looking at this kind of metric. That is the first meaningful response from a support team agent to the customer, asking for clarification if the issue is not clear from the start, ask any kind of questions, or working towards a solution for the customer. First response, in contrast, is the very first reaction to a request coming in. So it's just a recognition that someone has some problem. It's not a solution, but just to acknowledge that there is something coming in, and the reassurance for the customer that somebody is looking into it, and again, he feels taken care of. And that could be just the change of a ticket status, for example, but that's the sign for the customer, okay, my issue is important and somebody will take care of it. So these are two aspects of service, and looking at both of these metrics can help you identify bottlenecks and again, increase customer satisfaction because customers are feeling taken care of again. First response is something that you cannot right now have a look in Jira Standard out of the box. First reply, yes, but first response not. So we built this report for you to get this additional layer of insight. And we are also, for example, filtering out automations that might be automatically creating some kind of first reply, because this is not a real answer from a real human being, and you want to look at your team performance, right? So we're filtering that out to give you the meaningful information to work with. Next, how about the speed of closing the tickets? That's also something, of course, every team wants to achieve, right? Tickets should be closed quickly, problems should be solved quickly. But again, there's something deeper that you could go into and have a look. For example, with our closed versus reopened report, because reality is not all tickets that are closed are staying closed. So you should be knowing as a ITSM team leader in which cases tickets are being reopened, what is the source, the cause for it, what kind of issue was the root for the customer, why wasn't it solved, right? And to make sure you work on your team development to be able to, in the future, solve the issues of your customers on the first attempt, so that the reopening becomes unnecessary and your customer satisfaction can increase. And this is not only applicable to incident management, but also to request, change, problem management, and so on, release management, all of these kinds of things. Next topic that you may or may not be aware of or looking into, it's the reassignment rate of your tickets. And we've seen a lot of interest in that yesterday on our booth here. We have created a report type that we call ticket bouncing report. And what that means is to track how often tickets are being reassigned from one agent to another, maybe to a third one, until it is finally closed. And that is something that you want to avoid, because studies are showing that with each bounce or each reassignment, about 2 hours of time is being lost. So that means the time to resolution goes up, and the customer might have to answer the same question multiple times because multiple people are working on it. So that is not a good thing for customer satisfaction as well. So even if your tickets are closed fast and not reopened, which we covered in the previous reports, and your customer satisfaction is going down still for some reason, that is a tool for you to look into deeper into what's happening and work on that, which means, training for your team members if there's some kind of skill deficit, maybe restructuring even, or other kinds of process improvements. And also here we took care of making sure that you get the real values, the real metrics, and we are just measuring the transitions between agents, so not the transitions from or to the state of unassigned, for example. What else do we have in Report Builder? We have a sharing function. You can export your reports in different ways. So if you have stakeholders that don't have access to your Jira instance, for example, you can give them just the exported file. You can export to Microsoft Excel, structured data for the tables, for the data tables, the CSV or JSON. And for the charts, for the diagrams, you can export PNG. You can also combine both into a PDF file. And of course, internally, you can share your reports as well. You can define who has the permissions to look at them, who has the permissions to edit them, and so on. And for externally, you can do the export. We also support dashboard gadgets. So you basically can create different reports for different kinds of metrics that you want to see. And as you can see here, build a kind of a cockpit view for you, command center, as it were. So you have everything at a glance that you have to see every day in one view. And behind everything, the backbone of everything basically is what we call scripted reports, scripting engine that we've developed. So it's JavaScript, but we have added a few things, methods and libraries for you to use if you are a developer or capable of doing scripting. Together with HTML and CSS, you can basically extract any kind of data out of your Jira, calculate it, process it somehow, build a logic to work with this data, and then output it in any kind of way. It doesn't have to be a standard donut chart or bar chart or line chart, so you can use whatever visualization library you want. You have total freedom. There are no limits whatsoever for you to use. And we are also offering this as a service if you don't have the time or the skill to do this kind of very specific custom report yourself. We can help you out with that. And this basically opens up an endless stream of possibilities to build any kind of report that you can dream of, basically. And the scripting engine behind it also means the reports that I showed in the presentation are all open source, basically. So you can copy them, go into the code that's behind it, change it any way you like, adapt it to your company corporate design, change the logic of how stuff is calculated and so on. So you have all of the freedom that you need here. So to recap, the app is called Report Builder by Actonic for Jira Service Management and Jira software. We have it for DC, data center, and for cloud as well. We have some reports in our gallery that are specifically tailored for ITSM needs, but also other types of reports for agile projects, project management. Sharing is effortless with our exporting options. Dashboard gadgets allow you to build your own command center to have everything at a glance available. And you have endless possibilities with the scripting engine behind it, which gives you a lot of freedom. So again, as I said, our mission is to solve your ITSM mystery, a Jira mystery. We are always looking to improve the product in general, the templates that we have for the reports, and also looking for new ideas for reports that we can build. So if you have a specific use case, if you have some kind of mystery, some questions you are asking, and you think you could maybe solve it with the right Jira report, but you don't have it, you can't have it, go to actonic.de/mystery, describe your use case, and we are happy to look into it and put it into the gallery, into the product, so we can improve for everyone. Thank you very much for watching. That's it from my side. Have a good rest of your day.